Hey there, welcome to my safe space. This is my safe space where I sit and I converse on a topic which I deem fit at the time. The views and opinions shared on this channel are mine. They are not associated with anyone, nor are they affiliated with anyone. If you have anything to share on my views, please do hit the comment section down below and leave your piece as well. I would really appreciate to hear what you have to say. Thank you so much for seeing so much value in the channel that you thought you should hit the subscribe button. While we're still talking about that, please do subscribe, guys. It is completely free. Today's topic was inspired by just current events. These days, if a person indicates to have an opinion which is contrary to what has been presented to them, they are quickly labeled as conspiracy theorist. For example, we'll take Nicki Minaj in her recent tweet where she was talking about the state of her cousin's friend's testicles after the friend had received the vaccine. She was very quick to be labeled as a conspiracy theorist, or rather supporting a conspiracy theory. It's a word which we have had been thrown around in the past year now so much everywhere. Some of us don't even understand what it means, and some of us don't care. But best believe it affects every one of us. So what is a conspiracy theory? Hey, I don't know, hey? What is a conspiracy theory? I would define a conspiracy theory as a belief or a theory in believing that the elite or the influential people in the world have conspired against us for an evil deed which benefits them, which is beneficial to them, rather for their power, because conspiracy is about power. I'm yet to hear of a case of a poor or broke person who has conspired against us, or a person who really has no power in the world or doesn't really seek power who has conspired against us. So it's always influential, powerful people. So if you've been observant long enough to come across one of these conspiracy theories, you would know that some of these things are really outrageous, and they really do bug your mind once you get into that rabbit hole. If you look at the number of conspiracy theories society, you see that they have quite a reasonable following as well. If an average human being can be reasonable, or rather can realize when information presented before them is completely incorrect, why does this large number of people fall into this trap? There are quite a number of reasons why we as human beings are susceptible to falling for conspiracy theories. Number one, our biology. Human beings are skeptical of coincidence, right? In our heads, when something massive happens, there must be an even bigger explanation for that big thing which just happened. For example, let's say, God forbid, a president of a particular country trips and falls and after having their normal supper at home, be it at home or wherever. We work on something that is called an illusion pattern perception, right? Which is the ability to perceive patterns and form meaningful connections between stimuli in our environment. We know by pattern that if a person eats their dinner, the most likely won't just die after it. A person dies probably after eating food when they have been poisoned. We know that. If this president just dies, all of a sudden, we will quickly connect it to the pattern that we are familiar with and say, oh no, they must have been poisoned. Which is very good for our evolution, right? As we evolve as people, it is very good that we are always on alert. This is our caution. This is what keeps us on our toes. It's what people would call running away from danger. Once we see a pattern, we quickly make a conclusion in our head. Okay, so this is how it ends, if you know what I mean. Although our proclivity to dictate patterns come at a cost. You see, we find it difficult to distinguish between real and illusionary patterns. So in our heads, we just see patterns. We can't see whether this pattern is now real, or rather, if I connect these, are these connections real? Is this pattern leading me to something which really happened, or it's just an illusion in my head? I'm just connecting patterns leading to false nothing. So we really can't distinguish between the two. I think what could be a driving factor also in our failure to distinguish this is that our body quickly releases a hormone called dopamine. I'm not an expert here, but this hormone works closely to adrenaline. So it puts you in a state of, it's either you fight or you run. The body does not really give you time to sit down and analyze the information which is presented before you. You are quickly bombarded with information. From there, you have hormones in you from your brain, so you end up having to make a decision real quick, and it's not always the correct decision. Guys, it is very difficult for a human being not to believe a conspiracy theory, because like your brain is like, yeah, your brain. Assume that you guys know that one of the functions of our brain is to protect us, or rather assist us in survival. This is also very closely linked to conspiracy theorists. Who would have thought, right? There's a hypothesis called adaptive conspiracy hypothesis. So it just states that believing in conspiracy theories is an adaptive feature of the human coalitional mind. So this theory basically states that conspiracy theories helped our ancestors in surviving. This is basically the voice in your head that says, you better be safe than sorry. I think with those two factors, which is the fight or flight, and number two, you better be safe than sorry. So your brain puts you in that state where you are just like, what am I doing? How am I going to do this? That is what makes people so susceptible to conspiracy theories. With the introduction of the phones, technology, and whatnot, social media, human beings have received humongous, tremendous, a lot of information. The information we go through is a lot, and we go through the information alone. We are usually on our phones, excluded from a lot of people just by ourselves, and that is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous in our decision making. This has an effect of bewildering us. I believe it is what has led us to concluding that the truth does not exist. Number one, as human beings, we collaborate in decision making. I'm not sure whether we realize it or not, but thinking and decision making are a social process. These occur through our interactions with other people, because in all honesty, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world through our instruments, or rather the instruments at our disposal. The issue with all of this is that we all lack expertise to determine what the evidence at our disposal presents. And as a result of that, we have lost confidence in what we know. These days, when you ask people a question, you're most likely to be hit with I don't know how the world works anymore. I really don't know. Things have changed. That is an indication that we have lost confidence in what we know. And loss of confidence is loss of knowledge. I don't think you'll be very surprised to know that loss of knowledge leads to confusion. We are confused. All of us. And eventually, if we are all confused, chances are we will be divided. And that is where we find ourselves as it is today. We live in a very divided society because of the confusion. Again, here's the sad part. We have all lost confidence in what we know or in our knowledge. And we have no experts to analyze the information we are constantly bombarded with. We have two problems, and there's a gap. That is where the people who think they are woke and they think outside the box leverage, because now you are confused. Number two, the information you're constantly bombarded with is just claims and allegations. It's never really fact. If a person comes to you with information which fills that gap, you tend to fall for it, regardless of whether the information is true or not. Dangerous, dangerous. I am of the very much polite opinion that an appropriate response to a person who is arguing for a conspiracy theory is to rebut the theory rather than ignoring it or insulting the intelligence of the person who is arguing, because we all have a moral obligation to ensure that our shared reality stays in check, because our shared reality is not a matter of one's opinion or one's perception of events. It is a matter of fact. We can't just sit and say that, oh no, these people are ignorant, they must do better. No, unfortunately we can't, because you see, ignorance is a feature of the human brain or the human mind. It is not a bug. The idea that we will go around thinking that people have got to have it all figured out or people must figure it out will lead us into living in a very simplistic world, and I don't think we are ready for this. We need to realize that there are people who are willing to ignore all logic and all sense in order for them to feel safe and feel protected and run away from this danger in their heads. So we can't really put a blame on people, because it's not really their fault how their brain reacts to receiving information and just managing information. It is with so much sadness to let everyone know that a negative reaction to conspiracy theories does not do anything to assist with eliminating the problem. People who believe in the wrong stuff are very quick to be violent. I am of the opinion that conspiracy thinking is at a spectrum, right? It can go from mild to very extreme, real quick. So I do believe that a pinch of it is really healthy for our democracy, because when you think about it, a world without conspiracy theorists will be a dangerous world as well, because those in power most likely won't be held accountable or won't have their conduct questioned. We would live in a simplistic world where there aren't people who think different from us, and there aren't people who are rebels of information, I don't know. Yeah, it might sound hypocritical of me considering the damage conspiracy theories. Moving forward, how do we as a society try and navigate through these problems and our differences in minds? I think in a community, we hold each other accountable, we support each other, and we provide for each other. By this, I mean that the social media companies should try and ensure that the information which is presented or posted in their platforms has a way of being verified. After developing means of verifying information posted in their platforms, social media companies should treat social media like any other physical community, where people are still obliged to tell the truth, where we still have a moral obligation of telling the truth, where we can't just be given a platform, because honestly on social media we are all given a stage, we're all given a mic, we're all given a platform, where we can't just be given a stage to say, come address people about just things you don't know, you know. More unfortunate news is that false beliefs is really our birthright. There is no law which holds one against believing in something just because it's incorrect. So we have to support people who believe in things they don't know. We really can't cast them out of our societies, because as I have explained, there's so much which is involved in a person deciding what they believe in. It's not deciding what you're gonna have for supper. It's simply just assisting people understand the limit of their own understanding. I would love to emphasize the fact that we are all stuck in crisis of truth. We are all stuck without tools of verifying the information presented to us. We are leading to chaos, nothing but crisis and chaos. Let us try and be compassionate and try and coexist with people who think differently from you and understand their how rather than their why. This topic has been bugging me. It is so complex. I try to take it on top and not really dive in. There's so many theories when it comes to conspiracy theories, and this, what I'm saying, is also just my theory, and also with so much research that I've done. Now guys, if you guys also have anything, a piece to add on what I said, please go on down to the comment section and add your comments. And also, if you guys would love to suggest a topic that I can discuss next time, please do not hesitate to do so. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found value in what I was sharing today. I hope I'll see you again next time. Don't forget to subscribe on the channel, like, share, and tell the world about this girl who just talks too much.